So this video is to work on the second part of Lab 4.1, and we're going to create a visualization that look at the 6 volume by month and the 6 volume target. So when we look at the instruction for that lab on Power BI, so here is where you find the instruction, and we can get started with the same solution we did earlier for part 1. If you open that same that you save, we'll continue from there. So here is my earlier solution. I'm just going to expand this, increase the size of this visualization. I could drag it back. I'm going to reduce the size of this one because I need more space for that new work that I'll be doing. Click on this and then increase or decrease the size. So I will go back to the instruction, and the instruction says basically creates, let's see what it asks us to do. So create a visualization for the 6 volume by months and targets. And we have the data for the 6 by month. We created that subtotal earlier, which shows the 6, and we can find the dates under the 6 order. Under the 6 order date. And then we will look at the visualization by products, which we can find under the finished products. So what type of visualization are we creating? We create a visualization called a matrix. So I'm going to include matrix right here. Just click anywhere outside of these 2 visualization. And the matrix should be one of these table here, which is this one here. Okay. So the matrix come here, now move it down to the top right corner. Okay, so you can always drag it around, drag it to the top right corner, and then I can increase the size of my matrix. And right here, I have row and I have the data value. I want to create data that has to do with monthly 6 or 6 by month. I guess one of the things I could do, doesn't matter which one I do first, is to drag some of the data into value and the other data into row. We could also equally follow exactly what is there in the instruction. So basically choose the product description, and they have that in the row and have the 6 dates in the column, and then drag the 6 quantity and have that in the value. Okay, so we could see the number of product, and then we expand, and basically the others are formatting. Okay, so the product description, we can find that under finished goods, and here is the product description, and then drag that into row. So here I have that data there, and then the next I want to show the 6 other dates that is probably going to appear on the top. I can find that under the 6 order, and right here we have the 6 other dates, and that goes into the column. And we want to report the 6 other day by month. So I'll take off the day and then the quarter. So we have 6 other day by month. When I populate the value, that's the months could come up after that. So I want to show the quantity sold each month, and I can find that number of quantity under 6 other line. 6 other, let's say 6 other quantity sold, and I drag that and drop that under value. Okay, now the next thing is I'm going to start expanding. I could expand this to show me the sales by month. So if you look at this arrow here, this could expand the data information, and then it shows the monthly sales for 2019 and the sales in 2020. This hasn't looked like the visualization we have in the textbook. I'm just going to double check that. So this is the type of the visualization we have in the textbook. So basically it shows the year, but we want to show the one by month, and that's what I just showed you shortly ago. But what about if we want to go for that to look at the April only to choose this particular month? So we could equally do that as well. So that keeps you going, but then we could also format that table to look exactly like this chart that we have in a more visualized way. If we go to the instruction, we mainly use the paintbrush function. Just going to see that. So this part 2. And then we want to expand. I have already done the expand hierarchy in order to say the monthly sales data, and then click the format visual, which is the paintbrush, to be able to make some changes. So in this, we'll go to this paintbrush here, and right in the paintbrush, you have the text element here. In the text element, you could turn on the background, but what we are interested in is the data bar. Okay, we are interested in data bar. When you turn on the background, you could format the paint, but we are not doing that. If we are doing exactly what we have in the textbook following that instruction, we'll rather use the data bars. So here is the data bar, and you could say that each month comes up with this. We've not done yet. So if I just move up here, let's see. Okay, so right here in the visualization, I'm going to increase the size a bit. So right here, I'm going to sort this data by date, which is this option here. If you click on this toolbar here, you'll find more options. And then in the more options, you say sort by, okay, I'll say sort by 6 other quantity. This is the version I have here. And then here's what I got. We have November, December, and then 2020 and so on. And then the next step, we basically have all the months display, but we'll go further to see how we can streamline the number of months that we can say. So the next one is click format visual paint button and click general to change the title. So basically we did that previously. So the structure here is to change the title, and you know how to do that. We'll put on this title on and just change this title to rename it to 6 by month. 6 by month. And then you can click enter. So that renames this visualization. We are not done yet. So for for us to filter, we could choose the year or the month we want. So we'll come here, and if you look at the information here under the 6 order dates, and then you have the 6 order dates, and then you have the 6 order date here too. So this one will be the monthly 6 order date, and then the yearly 6 order date. If we were looking at yearly filter, I'll basically click on this filter type here under the 6 order date and choose basic, and that will give me the option to choose 2019 only data or 2020 data. Now I want to filter for April to have exactly or similar to what we have in your textbook. And I will click on this one here and then choose April. And that will produce this exact visualization for us, and I can reduce the size. Let's say whether what we have in your textbook. So we have April 2020 and same data. So it does appear that the data is quite consistent. So you might need to format this one further to make sure you take away maybe some sum to get exactly the same thing. So this is a puzzle I'll leave for you to solve. Okay, so we basically have 1,662 and so on, which is consistent. Okay, now the next thing we want to do, we want to create another visualization, which is called the gauge or the gauge. So I'll click anywhere here and then choose the visualization for, it's usually called gauge, this one here, so the gauge. So right on this one here, you are required to include new measure. I'll click on this and basically click on new measure. First, I will do the X because I need to include some of the data that I need to that needs to form part. So let's see what instruction says in your textbook. So right on this instruction, create a visualization showing the total sales revenue by, no, that's one we did. We're talking about part 2. So we've completed this and gauge, and there's a drag the 6 other quantity. So basically the 6 other quantities, so the quantity sold, that's what it means, drag the quantity sold. And then to add a target measure, you click on new measure, which is fine. And then we set it to a $10,000 as the target quantity to sell. If this was the target, and then we compare that to the actual quantity that was sold. And then drag the 6 volume target. So that's the measure we created. And then format the measures by using this following information here. So let's get started with this. We want information related to our sales quantity. So our sales quantity should be here. Okay, and that goes to the value. And we will rename this as we progress when needed, but not right now. You could do it right now. It doesn't matter what step you've taken first. So we need to add value to the X to show the target value that the company intend to sell. I think the short should be here. Yes, somewhere here. So we need to add targets value to the X. Let me see what value you have in the picture. Okay, on the textbook you have 1,660. But I'm not going to be working to get exactly that, but just to show you the steps. So right here, I'll come to new measure. This is new measure right here, basically calculator. And then I will do the calculation just like we did for the subtotal, by subtotal. So I'll change the X to so I think that was required to be changed to, let's see, what's the 6 volume target. 6 volume targets. Okay, and then the 6 volume target is because this is kind of a instruction. So we have to put the word together. We could just use the underscore to separate the word. And the amount we are required to enter is 10,000 units as the target sales quantity. And then click enter. on, what's going on. So I'll click enter. So once you click enter, it will appear in any of these data table here. We could check, will you find it in one of these data table here? So by instruction in your textbook, it says it's going to be here. So now that I've done, I could click anywhere here and I'll just ignore that because the data is already there as the target quantity. Now, based on the instruction in your textbook, if we click on this visualization, we need to drag that 6 volume from under the customer masters. Where does it want us to put it? Want that to be drag and put under the targets, under the target 6. So here's the target 6 here. So drag that and have it on the target 6, and then you have a line here. So we say 10,000. So we literally exceeded our 6. You could see that we exceeded our 6. So I could drag this and put it somewhere here, or put it on the top, wherever you want to put it. Just leave it here. Okay, leave that here there. Next, what next? Let's see. Lastly, we're going to play around with questions or business questions. So based on the last instruction from 4, where we have to ask some business question. So on this visualization, you have this question and answer here. When you click on that, you basically show that you have another visualization here. So I'm going to move this down here, and I can ask a different business question I would like to know something about. For example, I give you the instruction in your textbook. What is the 6 other quantity, other 6 other quantity sold by sold by business name. So this is something, this is a business name. This is the information you would already have in your data sheet. So click on that, and then it shows you this information here, which is the last part of this lab work that we'll be working on. So basically have this, I show this data. So this is business name, and you basically have the business here, Ben, Kent, and so on. So I could, you could play around with it and do something different from this, and just explore the data, ask it different business questions. So for example, I could change this and said 6 other quantities sold by employee. So I have employee ID, employee approval ID, and so on. Could just choose one of these, just for example. So it gives me this following information here. So what about if I say sold by location, customer address, customer city, customer state, could say customer state. Then I have this following information here. So I hope this video was useful to you. This is where I will stop on the lab work on chapter 4. If I do have the time, I could make some more videos on this lab work, but the lab work is actually designed for you to learn on your own instead of just following my step-by-step on this video. Remember, I said there's something you could do here to solve this in order to get perhaps what is exactly on the textbook. So you could try that out. If there's a particular lab work you've tried your best, it doesn't work, you could send me email and tell me what the lab work is, and I could look at the lab work and see what I could do. I hope you have a nice weekend, and look forward to week 5.